Hello. It's good to be back again. And it's been a while. We actually recorded video, but again, we love to showcase cool content to you guys. So we're back right on YouTube live again. And today we'll be doing cool stuff as usual. We love to do cool stuff. Today's video is targeted towards sys admins around Linux environments, or those who are willing to try to understand what sysadmin role looks like within the Linux space, not a Windows space. I will be showcasing some Linux commands today, pretty much handy and good commands that will really help you up your game with your sysadmin skill, practicing skill. So, without further ado, let's get right into the meats. Please do like, subscribe. I know you've been liking, you've been subscribing, but again, like and subscribe. Never stop doing that, and also turn on the notification button so you can receive the notification once we have cool content out there for you. All right, so great. What is Linux, or what is a Linux environment? Obviously, if you are pretty new around that, you probably would have heard about several distros like the Kali Linux, which most people are usually aware of because of ethical hacking or stuff like that. You also have quite a number of them. The Red Hat Enterprise Linux, you have the OpenSUSE, you have the Ubuntu, you have a bunch of one of the best flavor of Linux I've actually used personally is actually Linux, and give it to actually Linux. Also, if I want to pen test, I just do that on Black Hatch. I'm pretty much cool with that as well, but that's personal. Ubuntu is my day-to-day go-to, as you would have seen from my video, because that's what I have on my work computer. All right, so enough with that pretty talk. Let's get into the content. So for the content of today, we'll be looking at system information, hardware information, performance monitoring statistics, user information management, files and directory commands, process management, file permission, network monitoring, file archives, installing packages, searching, SSH login, file transfer, disk usage, a bunch of stuff, directory navigation as well. And at the end of this, I'll pretty much show you a health check script for Linux environment, which I'll show you how to get that deployed so you can have cool metrics concerning the performance of your Linux system. Now you can pipe whatever the output is to either send you a notification via email, or you can send it to a dashboard like Grafana, where you can have pretty much fine grain analysis to check your CPU utilization, memory utilization, and a bunch of other stuff. But I won't be showcasing the Grafana part today. But again, if you do like this content, I may be tempted to record that part to show you how to push that those data to Grafana. All right, so let's get into the meat. I will be doing this in a Linux system which I have in Oracle Cloud. So you can see in that folder I have Oracle Linux right there. I've got a little script which I used to connect. I'm just going to clear the screen and connect using the script. I will open multiple session. So in case you're wondering what is in the script, it's just the basic bash scripts. Just connecting via SSH using the keys, which I'm not using password, I'm actually using keys for authentication. So it's basic. All right, so I've got a session on the Ubuntu system. Okay, so I'm going to clear the screen and I'm going to clear the screen. We'll be working with both screens. Okay, great. Now, the first part of this recording will be to check system information. So pretty much there are a bunch of ways to do this. Now, if I want to look at it, maybe the system information, I can use uname, give me a minute, uname. Now I can run this and press enter, it gives me Linux, or I can do it uname, then pass a tag A to it. That gives me more details. So we can see Linux plus instance, more details. We can see the version, we can see the distro Ubuntu. You can also see the architecture and a bunch of other stuff. Now, there is also, if I want to see the release for the kernel, I can clear this screen, uname minus R will give me the kernel release. So we can see it's Oracle, like I did tell you, it's Oracle, it's in Oracle Cloud. The next command quickly, which I'll be showcasing, will be to show the version. Now, for version, I can either be checking the release. If I maybe I would go into a directory called etc. Then let me see. There's a bunch of files in here. You can see right now. There is OS release there. If you see that, Okay, so we can try to maybe cut the content of OS release. Then we will see details. So you can see pretty much lots of details. You can see it's Ubuntu, it's Focafosa. We can see the ID, the ID like Debian. Obviously, it's Debian built. We can also see privacy policy and a bunch of other stuff. Now, this is showing us the version. Now, if we want to maybe show how long the system has been running, this system is hosted in the cloud. It's been up since the day I set it up because I actually had used it for a job and I didn't shut it down. It's still in Oracle Cloud, pretty much not resource hungry, so it's not costing me so much. So I'm just going to put uptime. So it tells me the system has been up for 50 days. So we can see a bunch of load average and all the stuff. I'll come back to this later. There are two users authenticated at the moment. Okay, which is this shell and this shell. All right, I'm going to clear the screen. Next, let's show the system host name. So basic host name command can actually be used to do that. Again, Blesley instance, that's the name. Now I can also pass host name I if I want to show maybe the local IP, capital I. So we can see the local IP, 1010, whatever, then 172. These are local, actually. This is for Docker, while this is the the VPC subnets from the subnet within the VPC. So I'm not seeing the foreign IP. Okay, great. I'm not going to show you that stuff. All right, but there's a way you can check that. You can either use let me clear the screen. Cats. I usually would do this config.me. Okay. I will be tempted to show you on my local computer. Give me a second. I have config.me. Oh, yeah, I didn't install that. I didn't install that. Okay, great. I understand. Let me run that here and see. Okay, it tries to query. It's not installed again. Okay, this is the new system. I changed my computer actually, so I use IP ADDR, but I don't want to show my IP address. The other command you can use to do that. Now, if I want to check maybe, excuse me, the last reboots as its name mentions, it's just last reboots. I can type. I hope this is actually installed on this. It should. Okay, great. It is. So we can see the system, the date it was last rebooted, and it's still running since that date. Okay. Well, I think this was after I had run an update or so upgrade. Then these are actual other times showing the WTMP. Again, excuse me, I'm a bit sick. So next we want to show maybe current date and time. Pretty much easy. We can use it as calendar or cal or date. I can do cal, and that will show me the calendar, basic calendar. I can show dates. It's going to give me the dates. Again, this is basic stuff. If I want to show who is online, I can just press a W. It shows me there are two users logged in, which are actually this shell and this shell. Okay, great. This is bash. This is also W shell. Okay, great. All right. So if I also want to show who is logged in here, I can do I as the user. So this is Ubuntu user. Okay, I only have Ubuntu user and the sudo user. Actually, the sudo user, none of them is password enabled. They're all the sudo you cannot authenticate is locked, or you can authenticate using Ubuntu, then elevate privilege to sudo to do to root to do what you want to do. Okay, that will be all for the first part, which is the system information. Let's talk about hardware information now. While system information will be one of your day-to-day tasks, if you're starting in, as you start advancing, you need to also want to understand the hardware, um, um, like the memory, the CPU, the RAM, the disk, and also the graphics and all that stuff within the system, the ports, the console. You want to understand how all the stuffs are functioning, so you can also use a bunch of commands to do that. Now, the first one I'm going to show you is the D message. Now, this will display the kernel ring buffer, okay, or message for the kernel ring buffer. So let's just do the DMS. Okay, enter. Okay, it's a bunch of stuff. Okay, great. Anyways, I'm not going to go walk you through all this, but again, maybe just touch on one or two stuff right there at the top. Um, Give me a second. It's a whole lot. Okay. This will be giving us a display message in the kernel ring buffer. Now, if there be maybe an issue or something within, we can actually find out from here. We can select here CPU, CPU1, the PID, Gammon not tainted. Now we could take all these info and maybe try to see if there is an issue, crash or stuff to start to debug. But that's not what I want to show you now. Maybe in the next video, I'll be glad to walk you through some of these messages, how to probably start doing debug in case there's a crash or something. Okay, I'm going to clear that screen. The next, if I want to display the CPU information, I can cat the proc CPU info. So I can cat, it's also in this virtual proc, then CPU info. So this gives me info about the CPU installed on this remote Ubuntu system. Okay, we can see the vendor ID, we can see the CPU family, we can see the mode, the AMD. We can go down to see some flags in terms of capabilities. Again, if touch capabilities in one or two videos which you've recorded before, we can also see the processors. So this is the first processor one. Basically, I think I've got just single core on this because it's in the free Oracle account environment. So don't blame me for that. Now I could run the same command on my own Ubuntu system here, and you will see if I cat the command proc CPU info, you will see this is pretty much different. There's a bunch of CPUs here. So I've got, I think, 8 cores. So it's going to show me for all 8 of them. 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cores. Okay, I'm going to clear the screen. Now, moving on from here, we've seen how to display CPU information. How about maybe memory information? We want to quickly grab that stuff and just pass it out, maybe to see what it looks like. Again, we can cat is still in the proc memory info. Again, this will show me the memory info on this particular remote system. So we can go around and diagnose or analyze this, but that's me leaving for you to do. I'm not doing that here because I'm trying to make this video pretty short as possible. Now we want to display maybe the free and the used memory. We can use free H, free minus H, free minus M for in megabytes, or minus G or F. There are a bunch of strings we can use for that. So if I type free, for instance, enter, it just gives me this pretty much minimal view. We can see the memory, total use free, shared, both catch and available. I can do the free, then I pass a minus H flag to it. Not pretty much far-fetched from what I saw initially, but again, I'm seeing bytes attached to this, megabytes attached to this, right? So I can also do free minus M. Again, that's for these free. If I want to check maybe the display PCI device, we can use maybe the LSPCI, I think. This LSPCI, I can pass a TV flag to that. Now the bunch of flags you can pass to this. If you LSPCI, then type help or man LSPCI, it's going to show you a bunch of strings you can use. But I'm just trying to display the PCI devices, so we can see right here. Let me do the same thing here. Not sure if it's great. So we can see quite different output from this. Now we can see right here, I was in Intel, there is an Iris Xe graphics controller. We can see some other controllers here, Thunderbolt USB. This is pretty much a recent generation PC, so we can see that compared to the cloud-based PC. Anyways, for this, I wouldn't have anything like serial control in and out, because again, it's a virtual computer in the cloud, right? Okay, great. So I'm gonna clear this. Currently, I don't think there's even a graphics attached to this. I'm going to clear this. Then next, we're going to look at maybe USB devices. So let's run ls USB. Then we'll pass maybe a TV flag again. At this point, we can see here there's just a port. I'm going to clear this ls USB and run the same command here. So we can see all the USB in and out within this physical device or computer which I have here. So next, let's go look at maybe the display, the Dmi Smb Bios for this particular system. I can run the command dmi, the code, great. That will try to decode and show me permission denied. I should be running this as sudo su. Let me just run that command again. I'm going to clear the screen and dmi smb bios, dmi decode. Okay, great. Now it tried to decode and we got an output from decoding the SMB BIOS details. So we can see some BIOS details. Okay, that will leave that for you to consume on your own. I'm going to clear the screen. Just want to show you that. Now, next, quickly moving on. What if we want to show maybe info about the disk? Maybe the slash dev SDA or SDA1 or whatever. I can do the, I think it's the HD param. Is it param or HD? I think is a HD per. I'm almost forgetting. Okay, great. That's the command minus I dev SD. Let me see SDA. Great. So it's going to show me some of this stuff in. I'll have to maybe do some decoding to be able to understand the values that are being read off that SDA disk. Now there could be SDA1 or SDA2. I'm only showing the info about the disk, SATA disk in this SDA disk, sorry. If I want to perform maybe a read speed test on this particular disk, I could also use the same command to do that. But this time around, I'll pass a different flag. I'll pass a flag TT, small t, capital T. So I want to run a speed test, read speed test on this disk. So I'm using this, then I'll pass dev SDA again. Okay, let's do SDA, a bunch of them in there. So this is going to try several iterations and try to use that to see if we can determine the read speed on the disk. But again, I'm not going to wait for this to finish the entire test. Already, I'm seeing that some results have been returned here for me already, and it's done. Okay, great. So we can look at this, and I can maybe run the same thing here and compare to see which one of them has got a faster read speed or write speed. I can do the same for maybe test for unreadable blocks within the disk. Let's say the disk is beginning to misbehave or is crashing or is feeling bad. You can run a command to test for unreadable block. So it's called bad blocks. Okay, bad blocks minus S. Then I can pass the disk. This context is SDA. So it's going to try to check for bad blocks within the disk. It's going to take a while. So I'm not going to wait for this to finish. I just want to show you. Once it's done, you will have an output and it's going to give you the areas within the disk that are faulty. Then you can look at how to maybe do some management to see how to move up stuffs for specific location within the disk or so. Okay, I'm going to cancel this. Now that will be all for the hardware information. There's also a bunch of other commands, but again, this is all I can cover for today. Next, let's talk about performance monitoring and statistics. This is also pretty much important as a Linux Sys admin because you want to understand the performance, how the system is performing, if there are issues affecting availability or stuff like that to keep up those SLAs for the particular system. So we're going to run a bunch of them. The first one, which usually comes handy for most people, is stop. So while this will give you like, I'm not pretty much a fan that much to this. I love the colors, so I'm used to running HTOP. Okay, yeah, this gives me some fun color stuff. Then I can pretty much understand that, okay, for the system, I'm seeing the memory utilization, I'm seeing the two cores, I'm seeing the swap. I can run the same command here just to show you. Oh, I didn't have it installed yet. Let me see. Hmm. Okay, let me pull it down on my system and compare. So already we can see the processes that are memory hungry or CPU hungry. Then maybe if we don't want them, we can shut stuff down right here. We can see it gives us options to actually sort out stuff, filter stuff, even kill stuff. Pretty much cool stuff. Okay, so let's run htop here and do a comparison. So for this, we can see we've got 8 cores. So we can see all 8 cores, their utilization. We can see the memory utilization as well. It's a 32 GB memory. Currently, I'm just using about 6 GB of it. I can see the swap also pretty much okay. And everything looks okay. Okay, that will be it for this guy. We'll kill this guy as well. F10. Moving on, let's display processor related statistics. Now, this is specific for processors, so it's called MP stats. Okay, now I can run MP stats maybe for the first. This is going to give me statistics about the processor, its performance, how it's running. We can see the user percent, the nice value. I've done a video talking about nice value, the sys value, the input output wait time, the read queue, the socks, the cells, and a bunch of other details. Okay, I'm going to queue this. Anyways, you can run this for all your processors actually just to check statistics. Again, the next I'm going to show is the virtual memory statistics. Is VMstat also. So VMstat, I can also run that and pass a one flag to it. It's going to give me an idea of the virtual memory utilization. You can see the CPU, the swap, the system, the memory. Okay, this is pretty much important for you to understand how these processes, how processes are utilizing the resources you have within the system. Next, I'm going to show maybe the display, the input output statistics. I'm going to kill this. I'm just going to do IO stats. That will take care of it. Then I'll pass on one flag also to it. So input output is going to give me the input output statistics for this particular um, virtual computer. I'm going to clear that screen. Okay, it's been a lot, I know. Pretty much fast. I think I'm going to stop this first part of the video after these. Then I won't be touching maybe user information. I will do in another video so that I don't get it too long. So next, let's try to maybe display the last 100 syslog messages, or maybe the last 1,000, depending on your capacity you want to take. So we can use tail and then to read the last, or we can use head to read the top. So if I pass the command tail, then pass 100, I'm reading the last 100 in var log. Okay, so usually we have those logs in var log. Then I'll just do that on messages. Come on, autocomplete won't work on me. MESSAGS. I don't have it on this directory. That's great. So let's go cd into the log. Oh man, autocomplete. Oh, hey, I'm so lazy sometimes. Okay, clear the screen. Let's see the logs we have in here. Do we have messages? Okay, cd message. Okay, so we can pap that on this D message, or we can check maybe authentication log. We could check, we'll go back to that command. Let's check outlog. So I'm gonna, we can see, this is our SSH session, I think. It captured all that. Diffie-Hellman was the algorithm used. Then also, invalid user John. Oh, this is some funny guy. Okay, I see some guys are trying to actually hack into my system. Anyways, that's funny. Okay, great. Sad enough, I don't have. I know the CSSH port open, so they think I don't use password. I use keys, so pretty much safe for me. They can go ahead for all I care. So I can see some funny IPs here. Okay. This is pretty funny. Okay, watching the bad guys trying to crack your cloud instance, right? Okay. All right, okay, enough of this fun chat. Let's clear the screen. Let's move on. So next, we're going to check a bunch of other stuff before we stop this video. So we've seen how to view the last, because the logs right from top to bottom, so you want to view the last ones, which are the new entries, to see who is trying to authenticate. I just checked authentication log. I found some funny IPs trying to, I could extract those IPs from the log and go put them like in a blacklist and enforce a rule like no connections from this IP should be allowed on this computer, okay, which I'm going to do pretty much later. Next, we're going to try to see if we want to capture maybe the display all packets in a particular interface. Usually all Linux system most times comes with TCP dump, so we can use TCP dump. Let me see if it's here. It's here. I didn't install it. Let's see here also. TCP dump. I didn't have to install it as well. Okay, great. So we passed the interface. I'm not sure what it is here, but I'm not going to run it in my cloud instance. I'm also not going to run it here, but just want to show you the command. You can run tcp dump minus I eth0. So if eth0 is the interface, or maybe whatever the interface is in your case, you run it, and then you'll be seeing captures on that interface just to keep track. We can also monitor maybe HTTP traffic. You can run the same TCP dump minus I, the interface, then in a single quote, put the port number. I may be tempted to show that on my local system. Let's see, I'm just going to copy this interface. Okay, I'm going to clear the screen, TCP dump. So I'm going to pass minus I, then I'm going to paste this interface, clean that up. Then I'm going to be targeting ports 80 only. So this will be looking out for, you don't have permission. Oh, okay, I didn't pass the pseudo flag. Okay, this will be listening on that interface and looking for traffic directed to port 80, and keep it to start showing me if I connect to any. Maybe I would showcase that I have a website on port 80. I'll just connect to it. So we can see that it's now capturing a bunch of traffic. If we analyze this, we'll definitely see this is going to my Amazon S3 buckets where I'm hosting that website, which listens on port 80 public exposable. Okay, I'm going to kill this. Just want to showcase for demo. I'm going to clear the screen. Then to wrap up, I think maybe one or two more. Now, if you want to list all open files on the system, which is also very important, sometimes the system is behaving laggy, there's too much to take, you can run the lsoff command to list all open files. This is pretty important. If there are so many files, you can now start looking at the process IDs and try to kill them just so you can free up memories on your system. You can also look at specific files opened by a user. So we can run that same command lsoff, then we can pass the u flag, then we can pass the username. In this context, let's say root. It's going to show me all the files that are running on context root. So we can see right here, root, written besides them. Okay, great. That's also very important for you to analyze the system and know what is happening in the system. Then also, if we want to check maybe free and used memory, again, I've showcased free. We can use FreeH to do that. Finally, before I wrap this session up, if we want to execute maybe showing periodic updates, there is I think it's called watch. There's a command called watch. Let me see if it is watch. I'm not sure. Oh yeah, that's it. There's a command called watch. So WATCHDF. So the normal DFH command, which you know I've showcased before, just oh man, that thing is happening to me. Just to showcase the list of the file system, we can use watch to keep track. So periodically, it's going to run that command, and just to keep track of the disk file system utilization for me. After a short while, it's going to execute the same command again. See, every 2 seconds, it runs the command and lists the output for me. Now I can use this as a way to automate maybe keeping watch of changes that have been written to my file system, or if there's any new file system being created here, I can also quickly use this to understand what is happening. Okay, so I think I will be only able to take this much for today. Another day I would be glad to record something related to user information. Remember, there are a bunch of other things we've not covered, so uh, stay tuned and watch out for the next recording. Thanks for your time, and I'll see you in the next session. Have a good day and peace out. Bye.